Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here, welcome back to Talk to Walls, the 29th installment, and before we get right into your responses, any questions you may have had, if you haven't seen any of the other 28 installments, then why not go check them out. There is going to be a link in the description of this video for the last Talk to Wall, or you can access the playlist by clicking the I button to catch up with anything you may have missed. But as always, if you have any questions or opinions, do feel free to put them in the comments section of this video because I want a Millwall voice throughout. And also, before we get into this, put your score predictions for the game against Bradford City in the comments section, and while you're down there, feel free to add your opinions on the match and Mill as a whole. Do bear in mind with this, I recorded it on the Monday, so if anything has become outdated or if any new news stories have appeared, then I'll cover them next week. On to your predictions against Charlton, and as per usual, no one got the score predictions right, but a couple of you were close, and those people were Joe Holloway and the Veggie Tube. Joe said that Millwall would win 1-0 with Ben Thompson being the scorer from the spot. He added, "Yes, I know it's far-fetched, but I believe that the players will want the young lion to score." The Veggie Tube thought that Charlton would win 1-0, and he said that he had a bad feeling about it, and to be fair to him, I was nervous that Charlton would finally beat us. The next scoreline was very popular with the scoreline as 4 people said the same result. They thought that the game would end 2-0 to the Lions. Those people that said this were Talk Gillingham, Tunbridge Fan TV, Gabriel Townsend and Liam Gaming 2. I'll start by saying what Gabriel and Liam said. They both expected Lee Gregory and Steve Morison to get the goals for the Lions. The other two that predicted support different teams, and the first is Talk Gillingham, who said that it'll be an easy win for Millwall as the Valley will go into a meltdown. And Tunbridge Fan TV, who supports Charlton and Tunbridge Angels, that said that he thought this would end that way because Charlton are not always doing the best at Millwall and they don't always beat him, and he's really nervous going into it. He would take a point if he could, and obviously the point is what he got, so he must be happy with that. The final 4 were all off by 3 goals. We will start with Joe Holloway and Elite She. They both said that Millwall would win 3-0, and the final 2 predictors were Harry CD and Jadams. They said that the game would end 2-1 to the Lions, with Harry saying he imagines Charlton will turn up with a point to prove. Let's take a look at your comments, and we'll start with the Veggie Tube, who said, "Do you think we can beat Watford and create an FA Cup upset?" And with that one, I say we can create an upset, but it will be much harder for Millwall than the Bournemouth game because I expect Watford to name a strong 11, but obviously it does depend on their manager. Also, Maserati still being there because he's under a lot of pressure at the moment, and the upset is possible, but obviously I'd expect it to be down to whoever gets the first goal, because that goal will make the difference as it did against AFC Bournemouth. He also said, "Thanks for shouting me out, bro, cheers." And well, I don't really mind. I really want to help you guys out, so as you've been helping me out, I feel that I need to help you out. Next person to comment was Steve-O, and he said, "I went up to the Bournemouth match. He finished with 'Come on you Lions.'" Before I say anything, Elite She said he did too, and I can imagine that both of you loved that game because the buzz was great and the win was huge. Talk Gillingham was the next person to say something, and it was praise for me and for us on the work that we're doing on this channel. He said, "Honestly, your channel is superb, mate. Unbiased, keep it up. And can I just say thank you? It helps when you guys give me your views so we get some fresh perspectives on the team and what is happening around the league and with Millwall." The next person to comment is Jadams, and he said, "Tony Craig is a good at left back, so does that mean that Joe Martin should leave?" And I have to say, I agree with you about Tony Craig being a great left back, and this comes at a time where Craig, well, I'm going to be honest, he probably thought these days in that position were numbered because he said that he wanted to play in the centre of the pitch, but Harris saying that he should play left back to get game time and obviously to accommodate Hutchinson means that Craig's quite quickly found out that he can flourish in that position, and he has benefited both Millwall and Craig as the team defensively have improved so much. And obviously that does come to a cost of 2 players, those being Marlon Romeo, who's obviously a younger player, and, well, Joe Martin, who's 28 years old. And he will want first team football. And this situation with Joe Martin, it's difficult, obviously, because he gets booked pretty much every game and then gets subbed off at half-time to stop him getting sent off. So Joe himself will want to get the football, but due to form that we're in at the moment, it isn't going to happen because Harris has stuck to his guns and kept the team the same for weeks. And it has worked out well for us because they have grown in strength and got more confident as a team. So the casualties in the team will have to be patient, and Harris has made it clear that it is going to be difficult to change the team when they're doing so well. So the players will know the situation, and for that reason, I don't think Joe Martin should leave because he always has a space in the team, but obviously, will he get time? Well, we'll have to wait and see how long till he goes back in that team. But obviously, Joe Martin can actually play in the left midfield area, so maybe, you never know, it might happen. He might get time in that position, but obviously, it's a tricky situation, and I hope that Joe Martin knows he's still welcome at the club. Jadams also said that he loves how all the Harris haters have shut up now. Can I just stress that those haters, they will come back. That's obviously if we start losing. It's the way that Millwall fans seem to go. No offence to you guys, but for some reason, Millwall fans like to have a moan, especially when things are going wrong, quite obviously. He ended with, will Fred leave to a big club after the Bournemouth game? And to that I say no. Fred is smart and I think he'll play his football and just forget who and what the situation is around him. He's likely to sign his contract. If not, I would be very surprised. He does have the potential. That is obviously no secret. But Fred seems level-headed enough to stick around and develop with Millwall. But I would not be surprised if he goes in about 3 years, because if he starts scoring goals, then a player that can play on both wings and up front is a player that will definitely get interest. Harry CD said something similar, and what he said was, a lot of people are saying that Fred will leave. Personally, I don't think he should leave for at least another season. He still needs to start adding goals to his game to do well at a higher level. If he does leave in this window, which I doubt he will, he's a fool, and I agree with that. I think that he won't leave in this window because he wants to grow, and Harris has put a lot of faith in him. That's probably a contributing factor to the fact he will just stay with us. The final person to comment was Liam Gaming too, and he commented a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to break each one down, and we'll start with thanks for shouting me out, bro. So to that I say you're welcome. I love the questions that you've been leaving on my podcast, and so as you're helping me out so much, I only feel it's fair to go ahead and repay the favour. The second question is, do you think Sid Nelson will leave? And I'm going to be honest, I don't think he'll go permanently, because if you look at it, Sid is 21 years old. Yes, however, he's been on the scene for such a long time. He's already got quite a lot of game time in a Millwall shirt, and well, with Hutch being fit, it's only right for Sid to go out on loan, because he's got to gain what he's missing, which is strength, as he's being brushed off the ball too easy in my opinion, and experience. Because if Sid wants to become a Lions favourite, he has to go out and he has to feel that he's got to battle for it. And I think personally, with Sid going out in a relegation battle, as he's too clumsy at the moment, I feel it'd get him to a decent level and see where he's at the end of the season. That'd be perfect. And I think this is 100% the right call by Neil Harris here, because Sid probably isn't going to be used. That being said, if there is an injury, then it could be a problem, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be working that way, and obviously Tony Craig can play centre-back as well, so Sid's quite far down the pecking order at the moment. The next question is, do you think that we'll beat Charlton? And obviously this was before we played them, and I'm going to be brutally honest here. I didn't think we would. I actually had a worry that Charlton would beat us, and I'm going to be honest because it has been going far too well for us at the moment, so I feel bad things will come eventually, and if it doesn't go too well, then obviously I'm not too bothered if we had lost, because obviously it's the way it goes sometimes, and I feel that we've been playing really well recently, and so sometimes you play too well, something's going to happen and you're going to slip up, but obviously it didn't happen, and I feel the draw is, well, it's acceptable. His next question is to do with Lee Gregory, and he said, do you think Lee Gregory will do well in the Championship if we get up there? And the thing is with Lee Gregory, I'm going to be honest, is I feel he wants to go ahead and improve, and he has missed a lot of easy chances this season, but as he is a striker, he can definitely do the business, and he's not too bad. So if he goes up to the Championship, he'll want to prove that he can do it, and it's something that he'll look forward to. When he was actually last in the Championship, he scored 9 goals, so that's a decent amount for a non-league player. You've got to be honest there, but he'll obviously want to at least double that. So I think that because he's hungry for goals, he will do really well in the Championship, but that does come at a cost, and it could mean that we might lose him because we can't hold on to him if he's going to be scoring goals in the Championship. The final question that Liam asked was, do you think that Ben Thompson would be a good captain? And this is actually quite funny, because I actually started talking about this with my mum and brother as they go to the games with me after the Bournemouth and the Charlton game. As I said, we've had Sid Nelson as captain, but I think it's time to give Thompson the armband. He stays out the longest after every game, and he truly loves the club, so I feel that he's more likely the favourite for the armband when TC actually gives it up. And Liam ended with, meh. On to the loan watch, and Mill currently have 8 players out on loan as far as I can tell, because I believe Ryan Bray is back to Millwall's youth team after his 28-day loan spell run out with Leatherhead FC. Speaking of youth players, we start our loan watch at Braintree, where not 1 but 2 Mill stars are out now, those being Chris Craddock and Kyron Farrell. So how did the two get on in Braintree's 5-2 win in the FA Trophy against East Thurrock? Well, Chris Craddock started the game and actually actually got an assist, and Kyron Farrell did also feature, but it was from the bench as he came on as a substitute in the 74th minute or thereabouts. They don't really have any official confirmation on anywhere really. I can't find it at the time that I was actually researching this. From one conference side to another, we're at Torquay United to see how Paul Rooney did, and well, he was on the bench and that is where he remained for the whole match as Torquay lost 2-1 to Woking. Another player that is on the bench for his side's match was Harry Gerlin, as he was on the bench for Welling United as goalkeeper Chris Lewington returned to the 11 for Welling after coming back from injury, as Welling beat Bromley 2-1 to progress to the next round of the FA Trophy. From non-league to the Football League, we're now in League 2, where many of Millwall's senior players are out on loan and playing their football. And we'll start with Sid Nelson, who gained his first point in a new Port County side as they played the full 90 minutes, or he did should I say, in their 1-1 draw with Colchester United. We're doing really well in the league, and that draw was a huge point for the Welsh side, but they still remain 6 points from getting equal with the side in 22nd and trying to get, obviously, escaping from that relegation. Another player who had a good week was David Ford, whose Portsmouth side won 2-1 to keep themselves in the battle for promotion. Ford will have to thank Connor Chaplin though, as Chaplin scored twice for Portsmouth to win the game, and the second was a winner after Ford conceded a goal. How did Paris Cohen Hall do? Well, his Wycombe Wanderers side ended up being frustrated as they were both held to a 1-1 draw after both scoring a penalty each. Paris did feature for the full 90 minutes though. The final player out on loan is Greg Wild, who is out at League One side Northampton Town, and this week they lost 2-1 to promotion battlers Scunthorpe United. Greg started on the bench and never came off it. The previous manager actually said that Wild wasn't fit, so that may be a reason why he's not getting time, because he's gone out on loan to gain match fitness and he's not getting it. But obviously the new manager just agreed with the old manager, saying he wasn't fit enough to play the game. As you know, Millwall played away from home to big rivals Charlton, and this game ended 0-0. Well, it had its chances, but neither side were that great. Millwall had the better shots on target, but they also had a ball cleared off the line with a number of close chances. However, Charlton put the ball in the back of the net not once but twice, and both times they were told that it didn't count. However, the second is more likely to have actually counted, as I would have given it, as Archer had an absolute mare with that move. And talking of mares, Jorge Takeira got sent off after the final whistle for pushing Steve Morison, and then for the second yellow, it was throwing the ball at Steve Morison, and just to clear it up, it was obviously a second yellow. Despite the game being quite poor, I have to select a player for Player of the Week, and so this week I'm going to go with Steve Morison, who created many chances that helped Millwall challenge for this game, but obviously you know the fate of those chances. It's time for the final section of the podcast. Yes, that's right, it's the Millwall news. And we start with the departure of Kyron Farrell to Braintree to link up with youth teammate Chris Twaddock. I covered it in the Lone Watch and that he came off the bench, but this deal is until the end of the season. The next story is to do with the CPO agreement and the fact that it has been adjourned till February due to not resolving the issue to do with Millwall's academy and also to do with the community trust. Obviously, Millwall don't want to lose their academy level 3 status, and the Millwall Community Trust needs to work in a great place because they're the heart of the community that they're in at the moment, so they need to be relocated adequately if the deal does go ahead. The next two stories come from Millwall manager Neil Harris, and the first is that he's not surprised on how much it cost to buy Adoma Lookman, as Everton paid 7.5 million for him, but obviously that fee could rise to 11 million in clauses. And Harris said that that's obviously the way the sport's going, so I'm just going to add something to this. Now, with the story, can I just add that if someone's good with potential, then you're going to find a way to discuss a deal which would make the player join the top potential suitors, but obviously that's not going to be cheap due to the current way the market's going. The other story to do with Neil Harris is the fact that he said the disallowed goal that Charlton's Patrick Bauer scored could have actually had a cause for actually standing, as Jordan Archer went to kick the ball and stopped, so it was Archer's decision not to kick the ball and Bauer got on the ball, but the rules state that it's not allowed. But as a striker, I personally feel we were lucky, as the striker should have been allowed to challenge for it. Sean Williams is where the next story is, and it's because before the Charlton game he said he really wants to get all 3 points over his former boss, but has so much respect for the coach that brought him to English football in 2011 and gave him the time and the freedom to help him succeed and get the move to the club where he plays for now. Millwall have been working hard for some time now to get Fred to sign a new contract with Millwall. His contract ends in the summer, and Millwall obviously do not want to lose one of their key starting 11 players, as he has grown so well and improved defensively. If Millwall were not to get him to sign a contract, they would still get some money, as he's under the age of 24, and that would mean that the money they get would be decided by a tribunal, but that would would be worst case scenario. The final story is that Millwall have been drawn up against Watford in the FA Cup at home. So again, more Premier League opponents. This time it will be much harder because Watford will undoubtedly learn from the mistakes that AFC Bournemouth made. And this game is going to be played on Sunday the 29th of January, and the kickoff time will be at 12 p.m. Now, don't worry if you can't make the game, as BBC have announced that the game will be on BBC One as part of their FA Cup package. So that is all we got time for today. Do feel free to put your questions and opinions in the comment section for the next Talk the Ball. However, before I go, don't forget to put your score predictions for that away game to Bradford City in the comment section, as next week I'll be covering the game and highlighting the good and bad points. And while you're down there, don't forget to tell me your opinions of the match and Millwall as a whole. So, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, I will see you guys next week for the next Talk the Ball. But until then, goodbye. We are heroes tonight.